Hello and welcome to tonight's podcast. Before we get going with that, I would just like to have a quick word about today's sponsor, CABI, the Community Assembly of the British Isles. We are constantly seeking solutions, and it is evident that complete unity among the people is essential for us to reclaim our power. I believe the Community Assembly of the British Isles represents the best option available. CABI's goal is to transform every community into a powerful entity, creating a vast network of strong communities. It is the people who should determine how we live our lives, and it is the people who can empower themselves to make this a reality. The Community Assembly of the British Isles is a great facilitator in helping to bring this vision to fruition. Since its inception pre-2020, CABI has been steadfast in its mission, actively facilitating change across the British Isles. Click in the video description link below to find out so much more, and sign up free today. Let's take back the power. Now please do enjoy the podcast.
Are you concerned about all this corruption being misgendered as conspiracies? Well, don't you worry. Sit back, relax and join in the conversation as we talk with today's guest. Welcome to another LSB Film Productions podcast with your host, Chris Brooks.
Hello and welcome to the channel. It's me, Chris Brooks, for another LSB Film podcast. Today I'm joined with Chris Edward. Now, Chris Edward I stumbled across on TikTok, and I have watched many a video on his subjects, which a lot of it seems to be based on common law, the lawful remedy, private trusts and all that kind of stuff. So today I just want to get to know Chris a bit better, understand what he's all about, and hopefully this will educate a lot of you guys watching as well. So welcome to the show, Chris.
Hi, thanks for having me on here.
My pleasure. So what made you get into all this?
My best friend 10 years ago started waking up to all of this, and he was convinced that he'd seen something on YouTube, a video of a man addressing a courtroom in America, and he was adamant that he was sovereign and he was a living man and he wasn't a corporation, and I had no concept of this at the time. And he was actually doing my head in. My mate was doing my head in, banging on about this.
That's how it usually starts.
I'm like, this, whatever, this, no. And I resisted it for weeks, and then all of a sudden I was sitting there watching this thing. I said, all right, put it on. I was fascinated by the wording of everything. It was the words, and I was like, well, we can talk to judges that way. We can address a courtroom, and it just started unraveling from that point. And I became fascinated with documents. And the truth is that the power is in the word. The words are the power.
Yeah.
But it's not just about writing a document. It's about believing in what you're writing, standing in your document. Anyone can write anything. But if you don't truly believe in what you're writing, it won't have the same power than if you see it's
about being authentic.
Yeah, like people are always asking me for templates, and I say, well, my templates won't work for you because I'm writing my templates from here. Like, this is my truth, my declaration, how I see the world, and that's my declaration of truth. Not everybody is the same. So it's not a one size fits all when it comes to common law. I mean, you can go and find the templates and use them, but I don't write. I write from my own perspective, which is I'm simply not playing that game. Thank you so much. Have a nice.
That makes sense.
See,
my mind was blown when I interviewed, name dropping, Russell J. Gold.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a brain like a sieve. It's it is a lot to take in, isn't it? And I think a lot of people do find that quite daunting. It's quite a daunting process, writing out affidavits or your demeurers or whatever it is that you choose to do to address the situation you're in. It can be quite daunting because we've been growing up in the fear factory, haven't we? So everything comes down to fear, the lowest vibration there is. Yeah. And that's how they entrap us.
And that's how it is. They actually rely on our fear for us to pay stuff. The reason we pay anything is because we're afraid. Anything by the governments or the council, the courts, we just don't want the hassle of what could possibly happen. So we just pay out of like, I don't want to have to think or feel about this thing, like a parking ticket. So they just pay it. They're relying on our ignorance and our fear for us to just keep paying these things. And when you wake up and you lose your fear and you heal yourself and you educate yourself, none of those things apply to you anymore. It's not even that I even think about the common law anymore or document writing. I simply don't care what they're doing. I just don't care what the government are doing. And uh, you could say, if you want to take it to a deeper level, that government itself is a belief system.
It's just
It
another religion.
It's another religion, it's an ideology. And if
Mm.
people keep thinking that registering to vote and voting for these Muppets is going to make a difference, then you're always going to have to live at the mercy of what they say. But from
Well,
what I can tell, we don't have to do anything that we're told, providing we're not causing anyone a loss, harm, or injury or stealing anything. So this is my pillar of my own experience, which is if I'm not causing a loss, harm, injury, theft, or fraud, five carnal sins. If I'm not doing those things, everything else is just a choice.
that's right.
But
No victim, no crime.
this tax or that fine or that penalty, those things are just civil pieces of paper that somebody said I may have to pay one day. But they're not laws. Laws is don't kill someone, don't steal anything, don't pillage your neighbor's wife. Like these are carnal societal laws. But
That's right, yeah.
me not paying
Everything else is just
just a choice.
an act or legislation, which is what's the word where you have to consent to it?
Yeah,
Consensual.
yeah, they're only enforceable by the consent of the governed.
Mm,
But it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy that we all perpetuate. We, the
sure.
people, are unknowingly keeping a system alive that takes our money. So the politicians and the king can say, hey, you guys are doing it yourself. It's really not anything to do with us. You guys are the ones that keep paying it. So we're just going to keep charging you.
Mm. So it's also that karmatic thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Where, like you say, you're doing it to yourself, therefore there's no karma on them. And then they
that's
tell you, they tell you in ways of what they're doing, so that also, in their eyes, takes away the karma from them.
that's right. So
Um,
when people say, how do these people sleep at night? And they go, well, in
quite
5 minutes.
easily.
Quite easily, actually, yeah, because
Yeah.
you're actually doing it to yourself. They've created a system that is a self-perpetuating belief ideology, and now they can just sit back and enjoy the benefits of the HMRC. Because we're hundreds of years into this system. This isn't just a new thing. This is the Roman Empire started taxing us. Like this goes back thousands of years. So they've created a very well organized digital system of extracting our time and energy. And that's all money is just time, energy, skill, talent, and attention. When you hold money in your hand, you're looking at a physical representation of your time and energy and your focus and your skill and your value. So they've just figured out a way of automating our time and energy out of our lives. 20%. People think they pay 20% tax. You don't pay 20% tax.
It's more like
You're,
99% tax
uh,
because you're
but
paying tax twice and three times and four
yeah,
times.
if you did the mathematics, we're probably paying between 60 and 75% of our time and energy to tax. Simply because food tax, fuel tax, energy tax, bedroom tax, inheritance tax, you name it, VAT tax, everything is taxed. So
Carbon tax.
if you were to add up every single incremental tax that we have in our country, we keep very, very little of our time and energy, and everyone thinks that's a regular thing. Like
Mm.
that's a normal thing. It's a normal thing to only have 10% of my income at the end of the month.
It's become so normalized, hasn't it? Which is kind of like what they're doing with the GLBT, but that's another issue.
Yeah, but
Um,
if you go back 500 years and you tell someone from 500 years, do you know that in the future, 90% of your tax will be taken off you by the government? They will pull their swords out and run and, kill the sheriff and take down the castle. Because the idea that 90% of their income would be taken off them isn't like that's theft at the highest level.
of course, yeah.
They were paying 1 to 5 shekels a month. They were just kind of like paying little tiny fractions of their income. But over the last 500 years, it's just become a normal thing to be completely financially enslaved. And if you try and convince someone in our society, do you know that you're a financial slave? They'll be like, no, 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 I'm not, because I get to go to the cinema at the weekend and I get to go on holiday whenever I want. I said,
Well, this is what amazes me, and I actually saw a video not that long ago where they said that back in the day when they had like the slaves in the peak of the slave trade,
yeah,
even they only worked half the year. So we actually work more now as so-called free people than the slaves way back then did.
yeah, imagine there's like a financial system that's tightening its belt every single day, every single week. And it's so gradual. It's like millimeters a week that you'd never even notice it was happening.
Mm.
totalitarian tiptoe. And it's very incrementally changing over the time. And we just think from the 1970s, when this all just became fiat currency instead of backed by gold, since the 1970s, they've literally just been laughing at us. We've been trading in money that means nothing.
Monopoly money.
Yeah, it's just paperless paper money. And now they're trying to make it digital to make it even less real. So this is why it's a clean cut no for me.
Definitely.
And I took enough plant medicines and I took enough ayahuasca and all of those things to not care in the slightest.
I'd love to do ayahuasca. I've done DMT,
Yeah,
as in just like in a bong.
yeah,
I don't remember leaving my body or anything like that, but I remember I was sort of almost like stuck in a loop. I'm like, oh, I'm coming up again. But I'd love to do ayahuasca, but in the right setting.
yeah. Always with the right facilitator and a shaman and the right people in the right environment.
And I
But
think every politician should be made to do ayahuasca.
I agree. I think in the future, I have these debates on other channels, which is the difference between a politician and a leader. A leader doesn't need politics. I don't need to talk about politics.
No.
I don't need to stand on a podium and debate which one is the right and the wrong thing to do. I already know that if you're not waking up every day and contributing to the lives of everybody you represent, you're out of the job.
Yeah.
That's the end of it. But you don't need to debate which is the right route to go. Are you providing for every single one of your constituents 24 hours a day? Are they at the forefront of your mind? And do you do it well out of love and compassion? If the answer is no, get out of that job and let somebody who knows exactly how to take care of people, nurture people, provide for people, uplift and inspire people, vulnerable people, disabled people, old people, children, youth clubs, health centers, all of those things should be the priority of the leader. It's not. Politics is like an argument that goes backwards and forwards, and I think this, and you think this, and da. But a leader just breaks through all of that and says, "What's the right thing to do for everybody? Not just a small group or a minority group or a wealthy group. Everybody. What is everybody need?" And you just focus on those needs, and that economy explodes. People become healthier. People become happier. But because the politicians are arguing over which one of their masters they have to feed and which one of their masters they have to live by, they neglect 80, 90% of the population, which is now reflected in our country, which is nobody likes politicians, nobody cares about leadership. The king isn't popular, no one wants to pay taxes. The resentment in the British people is so high because they've been screwed for so long that the house of cards is eventually just going to collapse on everything.
I was going to say, do you see a point now where things have got to change? Because eventually things do change, don't they? History, all throughout history, we go through cycles of corruption and tyrannical overreach, and then it becomes better, and then we go back into it again. And obviously going through what are we in now? Aquarius? Is it
We're going into
Aquarius
the
we're in now?
yeah,
So
everything's revealed.
that's it. And obviously with Donald Trump now become the 46th or 47th president, that's how into it I am. Do you see a big shift on the horizon?
I imagine everyone enlightened all the time. One of the spiritual teachers that I followed said, if you want to do the human race a favor, just continuously imagine everyone waking up all the time.
So visualization.
Just imagine everyone is waking up. And that doesn't mean go around and try and convince everybody to wake up, because that's just a waste of time as well. But I think they're just imagining that the world is always getting better. It's so easy for our minds to focus on, the war and this and Putin and Trump and the dark state and the deep state and the pedophiles and the reptilians and, the fucking sky is falling and everything is collapsing. But that's one way of looking at the world. The other is there's less war on the planet than ever. There's less poverty on the planet than ever. There's less disease on the planet than ever. 500 years ago, there was men running down with swords, and they were killing you regardless of what you thought about anything. And now, no one's getting hung, no one's getting burned at the stake, no one's getting shot in public, no one's getting stoned to death. So we actually
could do with a little bit of that back.
Yeah, but we should be hanging and guillotining the people who are manipulating everyone and controlling everyone. But my angle is I'm not against the government. I'm not against councils or courts. I'm purely an educator in this topic. I'm passionate. I think sharing information is how we get out of this situation.
Hmm.
I think sharing knowledge, wisdom, and information and experiences is how everybody gets to a point where they're empowered. And I felt a massive sense of responsibility, knowing what I know and being the person I am. I felt like I was being called to speak. And it's like if I don't speak out and just speak my authentic truth, I might as well just be dead.
So a very similar story of awakening to Mr. Ike, who I also believed done some plant medicine, and he said he had this urge to go to Peru, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's really good. That is
I,
good.
I think it was during the ayahuasca ceremony, my first one, when I was 34, 6 years ago. I knew I was going to be a public speaker. I just saw a vision. I saw a vision of me standing in front of an audience, talking to everyone and loving it. And I said, that sounds like a great thing to be doing. Let's just keep pulling on the thread and see where it leads me. And I've always
See,
been
I
on,
find that so scary. I mean,
yeah,
I've only just got used to doing this. My YouTube channel always just used to be me uploading music videos and stuff that I'd done for other people, or just my own little short films and things. And then the Thetford Town Council meeting went over the 20-minute neighbourhood things. That went mental, and then so I kind of started coming along down this route of what I do now. Um, and obviously, singing and playing the guitar, you would think I'd be used to public engagement, and obviously I suppose that's helped you. Were you a front man? Were you a
yeah, I've been a bass player in bands for the first 10 years, and then I became a lead guitarist and a singer in another projects. But I do solo acoustic mainly.
okay? And do
Go
you
out and
still do any of that?
yeah, full time.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah, full time. I got 2 or 3 gigs this weekend. Like got weddings and all sorts. So that's my main income.
Oh, awesome! You have
Yeah,
to send me some links so I can check your music out.
yeah, it's all just covers of the last 50, 60 years. Like going, I learned hundreds of songs over my lifetime. So I just go and sing pop song. I'm playing in a bar tomorrow. Got a wedding on Saturday. Um, yes, I love it. I love playing music. I love singing. I love using my voice. But then I had the realization that all I had to do is put down the guitar, and then I was a public speaker. So, although I do tie in music and public speaking, I was super comfortable going out on stage at a wedding, for example, and saying, "Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Chris. This is the band. We're going to be here all evening. I want to see you guys getting out of your chair and dancing because there's no point in us playing music if you guys aren't dancing. So let's do this. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, da da da." And I would just be a musician. And then I realized that just putting down the guitar and walking out on stage saying, "Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Chris, and now this is what I'm passionate about. I love this topic, and I love talking about these things." And I just naturally became a public speaker, and I just had to put down the instrument that I was playing because I can talk forever.
See, that's really good. I just mumble and stumble. That's why I always look at myself as a facilitator. See what I mean? I always look at
Facilitate.
myself as if, yeah, because my interviewing technique. A lot of people like my interviewing technique because it's so laid back.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
it's just a chat with like a mate. So
yeah.
yeah, that's what I'll stick with. So yeah, that's really good that you've got that and I've got the music. Yeah, I'm chuffed about that, and I really want to start getting into my music again because, like I said, I can't rely on this form of employment because it's not really employment.
I know.
um, have you had many people come to you about council tax?
Thousands, thousands and thousands and thousands. I have currently 211 unopened messages on my TikTok.
Blimey.
I'd have to hire a secretary to deal with the amount of messages I get on TikTok, and they're all the same. I'd say 80% of them are people who just tell me their problems, and I'm meant to just take up my time and read everyone's problems. No, I haven't got time for that. So no
Mm,
one, most people don't even introduce themselves or say hi.
really?
Yeah, there's not even a hi, Chris. I love your content. Da, da, da. I have a problem, and then it's just I've been da, 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 and it's just straight into a message about their problems, and I don't know what they're thinking. Like I'm just sitting at home reading hundreds of people's problems. No, I'm not. I haven't got time for that. I'm
So,
only an educator. I want to give the information,
mm,
but there's not enough hours in the day to reply to everybody's
I
messages.
know you couldn't.
But all of them are about council tax and council tax, and I feel like I've become Martin, the money saving expert. Like, because everyone just wants to save money, but this is why although I talk about common law, I actually am deadly passionate about mental and emotional health. Simply because if you only focus your attention on law, you're always going to be in the labyrinth of trying to figure it out. Always. But if you empower yourself and you sort out your mental and emotional health, the law doesn't apply to you. It doesn't apply to you. It's only applying to you because you think and feel like it does. But when you purify your mental and emotional bodies through techniques, you actually transcend common law. You become a man of value. You become a man of um, like nobody can fuck with you. You've got strong boundaries. You're a man of love. You're a man of peace. You're a man of integrity. You try and keep your family safe and you provide for everyone. You keep every single penny of your income and you simply decide who you give money to and who you don't give money to. Nobody else on the earth can decide where my money goes.
That's right. Sorry, my guitar keeps falling over.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Totally agree. Have you got? So I take it obviously you don't do all the council tax, and you've eliminated yourself from the system in that respect, or?
I choose my battles very carefully. I don't pay council tax. Me personally, I don't pay council tax. I don't agree. I don't pay any income tax at all. I don't see myself as an employee of the Crown Corporation.
Hmm.
I'm out of that. I didn't sign the birth certificate. My parents did. It's nothing to do with that's an agreement that they made, not me. So whatever the birth certificate stands for and represents, that's not who I am because I didn't sign it and had nothing to do with that agreement. That's between my parents and you. So if you've got a problem, go and speak to them because they're the ones that sign that piece of paper, not me. Actually, I didn't sign anything. I'm completely out of everything. And I'll explain it to a policeman or a councilman or a court or a clerk or a judge or even the king himself. I'll say, I don't know who you are. Please just leave me alone. Thank you so much. I don't need anything from you. And it's not like we need to get pitchforks and go to Downing Street and like kill somebody. It's just simply, I just want to focus my attention over here and I'm not causing anyone a problem doing that. So good luck to your system because I don't believe in government. I just simply don't believe that the government should have that much power over the people. I just don't believe it.
No, absolutely. And have you been pretty much left alone?
Let's get into the law of attraction.
Go for it. I could
The
do with
law
some
of,
of that.
the law of attraction it's happening to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, your entire life. It's not something that when people say, "Oh, I'm manifesting this," you're manifesting everything. Oh, I manifested this thing. You manifest everything 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All the people, all the relationships, your job, your money, the house, the plants, the dogs, the animals, the clouds, the fucking planets. Everything is a manifestation. Everything. So once you understand that you attract what you fear and what you think about. So our physical reality is made up of what we're thinking about,
Yeah.
what we're believing about, and what we're feeling about. And that vibration of thinking and feeling is what draws all of the circumstances into our lives. And that is physics. That's not woohoo spiritual bullshit. That is actual quantum physics. You can actually measure that in a lab, that you attract what like attracts like, right? Like-minded things attract like-minded things, and they are drawn together like electromagnetism. It's
Mhm.
physics. I don't think about the government. And I don't feel anything to do with the councils or the courts or the police anymore. Therefore, my reality is made up of none of those things. My reality is made up of the jobs that I have, the income that I have, the community that I'm building, my friends and family, the dog that I have running around the house, my health, and people like yourself who I'm connecting with on the internet. I'm thinking about you guys, I'm caring about you, but I don't have any fear about what the government could possibly do to me at all. Because I know through trial and error of court cases, I've learned that there's nothing anybody does to you ever ever. There's not a bailiff that can do anything to you. There's not a court or a council or a policeman on the earth who can do anything to you. They can only give you the impression that they could.
Mhm. Perception.
deception. They have to make you feel like they're going to do something to you, and you better watch it, or we're going to come over to your house. And there's a letter with black letters on it, and now there's red letters on it, and now that fee's gone up, and the courts are going to get a summons. And it's like it's so overwhelming for people to comprehend that they just pay the fine. But
I mean,
if you just hold out just a little bit, and you poke the bear a little bit, and you write back to them a little bit, and you go to the court, and you just make a decision. I'm not going to pay them until I'm 100% sure that I have to. You find that the whole thing is built on sand. It's just
it's
the whole
incredible,
thing
isn't
is
it?
the whole thing is a panto. It's like a big pantomime that they're pulling, and they know that it's a panto.
It's the Wizard of Oz, isn't it?
It's the Wizard of Oz. They're behind the curtain, like don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. And when you get there and you peek behind the curtain, you see it's just an old man who can't do anything.
No,
And that's
absolutely.
literally the legal system. So I'm a massive advocate for studying. Studying is how I became the man I am. I became obsessed with reading legal documents. So with every document comes greater understanding. With great power comes great responsibility. So once you've got to a point where you feel great, you feel and like feel healed, you've done the plant medicine stuff, the only thing you can do is go back and teach other people how to do that. But how do I teach a perspective? You can't.
No.
You have to. I can say, "Oh, there's nothing to worry about," and the government's never contact me, and everything is fine, and I don't pay any of my taxes, and they can just go and fucking do whatever they want. Someone who's wrapped in fear and who is unconscious and hasn't read any books will just look at me and go, how the fuck is he achieving that? Right. Well, it's taken me 10 years, but you too can do what everyone else has done, which is transcend the fear so that you can stand there on top of the mountain and have a little dance and not care about what the courts are doing. And if the courts write to me, I go, oh, wonderful, like a letter from the courts. How wonderful is this? This is a great opportunity to write a letter to them. Write a letter back to them. And then I don't think about it after I left. That once that letter's gone out the door, I'm not sitting at home wondering if they've got it. Like, oh, I really hope they get my letter. And that's the end of the communication. This is my notice. I don't care what you think about it, what you feel about it, whether you shred it, whether you process it, whether you give it to the king. I just don't care what you do with my letter. The letter is the finalization of this communication. Have a nice life. Goodbye. Don't call me. That's the end of it. So people have to truly believe that that letter has power. And in the belief of that document, you're free. But if you send the document and you're still worrying whether it's going to be accepted by the courts, then they're just going to keep contacting you because they're a law of attraction. Law of attraction.
So how did you manage to shift that perspective of the fear? Is it just through trial and error, or was it through hard meditation? Something like Wim Hof breathing exercises for 24 hours a day? You know, how did it come to you?
All of it. All of
Right,
it.
okay.
All of it. Because everyone's like, well, which way do I take? I said, if you understand affirmations can change your life, I use affirmations every day. Every single day of my life, the last 10 years, I've literally spoken the next stage of my life into existence. So you don't say what you are now. You say what you want, you're going to become in the future.
Can you give me an example of an affirmation that you would use daily, or?
The most important affirmation on earth. One affirmation, one sentence that will change the entire planet. I am safe.
Okay.
Because all defense mechanisms, all superiority complexes, all fear, all worry, all concern, all insecurities are rooted in unsafety. I am not safe. The foundation of our being, if it feels unsafe, manifests as fear and worry and concern because we're like, oh my God, I'm not safe, I'm not safe, I'm not safe. This is why the Indians have a certain level of family value and safety that the rest of the world don't have, because the Indians know that a child is 1 year in development. And this is a genius thing to tell anyone who has a child. 9 months inside the mum, 3 months outside of the mum. It's not that we gestate for 9 months and then we're born and that's the end of it. The truth is, we take 1 year to develop. And the Hindus, after they've given birth to this 9-month-old child that's been 9 months in development, they protect it for 3 months from anybody. It doesn't leave the house. There's no raised voices. There's nothing. They understand that these 3 months of development is when the child is developing the deep psychology of whether this reality is safe or whether it is dangerous. So when a baby is a tiny little pink thing and is being passed around a pub at 2 weeks old and the football's on, oh, mate, and the British culture, they think it's acceptable to take a two week old baby and hand it around a pub. The only thing that child is thinking about is, am I safe or is this place going to harm me? So the children that were passed around at pubs or went to a concert or heard a loud car and went out in public very quickly developed deep inside their psychology, this place is unsafe. This is an unsafe place. But the children that are kept away from society for another 3 months, they've opened their eyes, they've been whispered things, they've been told that they're loved, they've been touched, they've been sang to, they've had nice music and nice smelling stuff, they've been fed, everything is calm for 3 or 4 months after the baby's born. Now the baby has the first initial belief, this place is all right. This is a safe place. I'm okay here. Wow. There are people that love me. I get fed. It's warm. There's no loud noises. I'm safe. I am a safe baby. That is the foundational ideology of that child's life. You see? But we in the West, we got a baby. Yay! Wait, 1 week old, 2 week old. So while the baby's developing the initial psychology of itself, it thinks it's unsafe. You see?
Really interesting, yeah.
So we as individuals need to convince ourselves that we're safe. I am safe. I'm safe to express myself. It is safe to be myself. It's safe to express emotion. It's safe to cry. It's safe to be a man. It's safe to defend yourself. It's safe to believe in something. It's safe to stand up for something. It's safe. And a lot of the unsafety, the fear that's inside of us is preventing us from moving in all of these directions that our soul wants to go because of the fear is keeping us in place. And we feel unsafe. You ask anyone, I just say I'm safe. My inner child, whenever I feel something that feels like an insecurity or a worry or a concern, I'm just going back to safety. I'm safe. It's okay. You're safe. You're safe, Chris. I hold myself. Safe. Just recognition, recognition. Your recognition over and over again, just reaffirming a new ideology through the words over and over again. I am safe. I am confident. I have great self-esteem. I am a great speaker. I achieve greatness. Money is always coming to me. I'm perfectly healthy at all times. Everything is working out for me. Every day in every way, I'm getting better and better. Over and 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 over.
I tend to listen, because obviously I've got recording software. I will say my own affirmations and then I will just mask it behind brown noise and then go to bed with headphones on. And
Perfect. I would say what you're doing is at the highest level of affirmation use, which is I recorded my own 1 hour audio of like 20 or 30 affirmations. And I just played guitar over the top of them. And I just had it on my laptop for 7 hours a night. 7 hours a night. Sometimes I wake up really emotional and just be crying because the subconscious is really, truly taking on this new affirmation. And as our subconscious mind takes on this new belief structure, as it takes on and crystallizes itself into a belief structure, all of the old emotion that was connected to the old belief has to be released. So the more I believed in myself, the more I knew I had power, the more I had confidence, the more I had self-esteem. All the fear, worry, concern, insecurity, shame, guilt just was coming out of me. I was just crying continuously for years. But I just didn't stop because a moment of pain, a moment of suffering, a moment of healing is a fraction of the joy you feel afterwards. So I say to all the men, get out of your head, get into your heart, feel your emotions fully, and you're literally setting yourself free for the rest of your life. I don't think about anything anymore that I used to fear about, anything that I was ashamed of, anything I felt guilty of. All those energies came through me and got dissipated. And now I live in a state of relative mental peace. I feel emotionally balanced. I'm not perfect. I still got more healing to do. But if I live the rest of my life at this state, I know I'll be happy for the rest of my life. And I was depressed. I was a drug addict. I was a horrendous individual 10 years ago. And I've had to really dig deep to take off all those layers so that I could be free, because I want to help other people. Really, truly, the whole intention of me healing The
Just to
whole
help all other people.
was to help as many people as I could because I looked around and I said, man, there's a lot of suffering on this planet. Maybe I can do something about it. Maybe I can empower the next generation. Maybe I could speak my mind. Maybe I could speak from the heart. And the more I believed that was possible, the more it's actually manifested in my life with 20,000 people on TikTok and doing public speaking events and being on podcasts and interviewing like with you. If I only do this for the next 10 years, my success is guaranteed.
Mm.
And it's not even about success as in, oh, I'm successful. It's how many people did I impact the lives of while I was alive?
Yeah, about making the
That's all I'm
difference.
gonna. When I'm 18, I'm laying on my deathbed, and I'm at 85, and I'm all crippled, and I'm like laying there all old. I'm not gonna be thinking about how much money I made. I don't care about any of that stuff. I'm not gonna care about the house I've got or any of that stuff. I'll be like, how many people were positively influenced by my existence? That is what I'm leaving behind, and then I'll go.
Yeah.
That's actually the only. It's not about my friends or my family or the connections I made, although they're all
No,
beautiful.
absolutely. It's about leaving the world in a better place than it was before you ended it.
That's right. Service to others is the rent we pay while we're on the earth.
Mm. Which is probably why you took to music as well.
Yeah,
Because that in itself is about cheering people up and
yeah, it truly is. And I used to work in a care home when I was a teenager, and I also worked in restaurants in my 20s, and all of those things are service based.
oh, I did that.
You did that.
I did it. I didn't because I'd left it so late doing the. When you can remember way back when we went to school, we would do work experience. Well, I'd left it so long because I just weren't interested. The only place that I really had was the old people's home in my village at the time. And then after school, I stayed on for a little bit longer. So yeah, it's quite funny, really. That we've got quite a few mirrored
Yeah. Well,
things.
I think, yeah, I've always been in care homes. I worked in care homes, and then I became from a carer to an entertainment director. And then I worked in restaurants serving food, serving drinks, serving food. It's all about service. It's all about giving someone something. And then music is about providing entertainment and allowing people to let their hair down and be entertained. And this next journey for me is education and inspirational speaking to empower people to step out of their bullshit.
No,
Out of
that's
their bullshit and get on the horse of and once you realize a spiritual awakening is a thing, that's a real thing. That's a real thing. That's not a pie in the sky concept that is like not for it's possible for everybody. And the more you focus your attention on that thing and you study the books so you know what's happening to you, and you go down that journey of philosophy and you go down the journey of self-empowerment and self-healing, your life only improves.
mm,
It's more than any
mm.
degree in anything you're going to get. Just studying yourself, know thyself, is the secret to life, truly.
I used to love listening to Ramdas back in the day when he would give his talks. And again, he started off doing psychedelics and things, and he'd be like, "If it could change my consciousness, I'm down for it."
Yeah,
He was such a down to earth bloke.
Ramdas is awesome, and like he was doing that in the 60s.
Mm,
He was running. He was at Stanford University, wasn't he? And he was a
that's
professor
right.
there.
That's it.
He
Yeah.
started growing his beard a bit longer, and he started growing his hair, and they fired him because he became too out there. But by that point, the spirit had already got him, and he went to India and he met Krishna Das, and they were taking LSD and they were tripping and just having the best time of their life. And Ram Dass is a legend. Yeah,
No, absolutely amazing. And Alan Watts as well. He's very good. He's become very popular since his death, hasn't he, Alan?
he's the man. Alan Watts is the man. Like I would say to anyone in the 21st century, if you want a very up-to-date modern version of ancient philosophy, Alan Watts is the guy.
Mm,
He has such a high level of intellect, and it's not just an intellectual thing he's talking about. He's talking about a direct experience of experiencing life as the witness, as the awareness, as God himself. So he doesn't just teach Buddhism as a theoretical thing, but as actual direct experience. And you can tell by the way he laughs at stuff. Alan Watts has got such a wicked sense of humor that he will say something really profound and then just laugh at the joke, at the mystery of
mm.
everything, the paradox of spirituality. And one thing that drew me into Alan Watts was the way that he laughed at very serious topics. He would just laugh and joke about stuff.
Well,
And I was,
I've often heard that being spiritual is very much about being the child.
yeah, it's about
It's that pure energy. innocence and just laughing and enjoying and
It's again, it's a paradox. It's paradoxical because the inner child, once you've healed your inner child, you are playful. Like I'm a playful guy. I like to play around and joke around, but there is a seriousness. The warrior inside of a man is unfuckwithable. Like I could be playing on the grass with my nephew and giggling around, and then some policemen come to the door, and I snap out of that, and I'm like, "Can I help you? What do you want?"
mm,
And there's a seriousness in masculinity, which is there's a sweet spot where you can be playful and be innocent, like you say, the innocence of a child, but simultaneously mean something and believe in something and stand up for something. And it's not just all playing around. It's incredibly serious. So there's like this dual experience happening simultaneously. And as you wake up, you develop your child and you develop your strength. And
that's
it
why
becomes
individuality has dual in it. The word dual in it.
in dual. That's right. To be devised. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like, well, this whole thing is a mystery, truly, on a spiritual level. The whole thing that we're experiencing here is never to be fully known and why we're here and what we're meant to be doing. But there is something in,
Sometimes that sucks ass though. You know,
yeah,
I do sometimes think, God, I just wish you would let me know what my purpose is so I could get on with it instead of having to second guess and trial and error. And
but you're already doing your purpose because the purpose of everyone's existence is just expression.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
only everyone's like, oh, what am I meant to be doing? Well, I don't know what my purpose is. Expressing yourself, because that's what the universe does. It is an expression of the one infinite creator. Flowers are expressing themselves, trees are expressing themselves, the cloud is expressing itself. Everything is in a state of expression. So people who are unconscious, they don't know how to express themselves. They're like bound by their thoughts and their feelings, and they're passive aggressive, and oh, I shouldn't say that, and they're too polite and they're too politically correct. And this is like a dampening down of, and when you wake up, you become an expression of everything. And you get to say whatever the fuck you want in any way that you want. You don't care what anyone else is thinking. I'm not thinking about what any of your viewers are thinking about me right now, like and what you think. I'm just literally being an expression of who I am, and I feel this way, and I'm expressing myself in this way. And if you look at all celebrities, truly they are personifications of an ego. They're personifications of a personality. What attracts us to a celebrity is their personality.
mm,
They're expressing their personality, whether it's Jennifer Aniston or Brad Pitt or Russell Brand or what, whoever. These people, where they're shiny stars because they're shining. They're shining. They're expressing themselves. So the more we heal, the more we study, the more we know ourselves, the more of expression of ourselves we become. And it's just about speaking and sharing and voicing and talking and expressing. That's what my purpose is. And the more I speak, the better I feel.
that's good. That's great. And for those people who are interested in what is being spoken here by Chris, Chris also runs a weekly podcast, not podcast, Zoom call.
Yeah, we do. We're doing Zoom calls all the way through the winter. We're now in November. We're going to finish this off in March or April, I think. This is a 4 or 5 month thing. Every single week, we're doing common law jurisdictions. So we're going to be talking about document writing, common law, and legal system, and how we not only the history of it, but how the solutions, how we can get out of it. For those people who are studying the law, the second week of the month is about mental and emotional health. So we're talking about methods, practices, and techniques that we can use on a daily basis to incrementally improve our mental and emotional health. Now, this is not an overnight fix, but if you practice them daily, eventually you'll pull yourself into a state of balance and integrity within yourself. And the third week is philosophy, spirituality, and all of the woohoo stuff, all of the conceptual stuff that we're going to compare spirituality to religion. We're going to look at all the comparative religions and to see what common theme they all have in common, so that we can synchronize ourselves with the truth and not an ideology. And we'll explain the difference between what the truth is, each individual person's truth, and what a concept is that we attach ourselves to, like Hinduism, like Buddhism, like Christianity or Islam. There is a truth running through all of them, but we discuss how we can take that truth and develop ourselves without becoming them.
Mm.
because I read all the Upanishads in India and they're beautiful, but I took what I could and I integrated it into my experience, but I never became a Hindu. I sat with the Hare Krishna singing Hare Krishna, chanting, but I never became a Hare Krishna. I went to Islam and I've studied the Quran is a beautiful book of poetry and love, but I never became a Muslim. So
Mm.
it's about reading all of these things and pulling them into your own life, your own experience. You don't need to identify as any of these people. You can just use them as teachings, as signposts. So that's the third week. And then the fourth week is a panel. We've got a bunch of people that we found who have quite a lot of followings who are specialists in all of these topics. So next week on the 18th of November, following week, we have three people, me and two other people, talking about common law jurisdiction. And it's a panel, so anyone that's on there can ask any questions, and I'll have 2 hours to ask three people as many questions as they want. We all specialize in three different areas of the law. Someone's on trusts, someone's on the legal fictional name, and I'm teaching it from a philosophical perspective, so it gives everyone a different perspective.
Brilliant.
And my TikTok as well as Chris Edward Life.
Cool.
So,
I will put all your links that you want me to put in the video description. And then people can check you out. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time. It's been fascinating listening to you. I will continue to watch you on TikTok, as I do on a daily basis. But for now, I will just say goodbye to the audience, and I hope you've all enjoyed it. Look after yourselves, take care, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye for now.